Mazda's formula caught on. The CX-5 sales have increased every year since its introduction. In fact, Mazda moved over 110,000 of them in both of the past 2 years. Sure, Honda routinely finds garages for 3 times that many CR versus, but the CX-5's performance in the market is good enough to prove some compact crossover buyers really do like to drive. As good as the CX-5's moves were on a billiard-smooth mountain pass, it was a little stiff in the city. Similarly, passengers heard more noise coming into the cabin than many of the best crossovers. No surprise then that when it was time to remake the CX-5, Mazda doubled down on refinement. The new CX-5 shares the same platform architecture as the last one, as well as with the larger CX-9. Dimensionally, it's nearly a duplicate of the previous model. And while the major mechanical components remain, they were not left untouched. In order to both smooth out and silence the suspension, Mazda added new low-friction struts up front with unique springs on each side. Coleman says the redesigned strut perches create less side load on the strut as it moves, hence less friction and a smoother ride. To restore a crispness to the steering, the rack is now solid-mounted. And to reduce vibrations in the steering column, hydraulic bushings have been added to the subframe. Speaking of handling, the CX-5 now uses Mazda's new G-vectoring control. The system uses electronics to subtly transfer weight to the front tires and enhance handling. Mazda ditched the entry-level 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine along with the manual transmission to which it was mated. Now, every model uses the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder mated to a 6-speed automatic. Mazda revised the pistons and rings, which not only reduce knock but also friction. On the spec sheet, it adds just 3 horsepower. But Mazda says in the real world there's quicker engine response. Similarly, the team revised the shift strategy for the automatic for a quicker first to second gear upshift and earlier, and quicker, downshifts. All that hard work sweating the details of the new CX-5 was certainly not in vain. Though this is not a clean sheet redesign, in some ways it feels like one. The first thing you'll notice as you slide behind the wheel is just how much more upscale the interior looks. Everything you lay your eyes or hands on is reminiscent of the larger and more expensive CX-9. Almost all the materials on our test vehicle were just as soft and just as impressive as the ones in that more expensive Mazda. The trade-off is now that the CX-5 itself is quieter, you hear more of that 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. And compared to some turbocharged engines in the competition, it's a bit coarse. It's even more vocal when the throttle is wide open. The engine isn't a powerhouse but it does deliver its output responsively, though compared again to the more powerful optional turbocharged engines that have infiltrated the class in recent years, the Mazda feels a little pokey. Our fantasy? Drop the CX-9's turbocharged 227 horsepower 2.5-liter in the nose of the CX-5 and call it a Mazda speed. Predictably, Mazda says that engine swap is unlikely. However, it has confirmed there will be a 2.2-liter turbo diesel arriving in about 6 months that should match the CX-9's engine in terms of torque.